After 3 years of swinging to salvage our marriage, I find myself utterly unhappy. The author of the post is listed in the description. Background: my wife, 35F, and I, 33M, have been together for 10 years and have 5 kids together. We started out as a strictly monogamous relationship, but as time went on, she made passing comments indicating she would be interested in an open relationship and each of us having the freedom to play with others. In hindsight, I don't think I realized how serious she was about wanting to do that. About 3 years ago, I noticed she began showing some telltale signs that something was going on, always putting her phone face down, turning away from me when texting, etc. Long story short. There was a guy at work she started hardcore flirting with and was trying to hide it. She even had his contact saved in her phone under a different name, hoping I wouldn't notice. I knew something was up and called her out on it, and she came clean but insisted it was just flirting and nothing had ever happened, which I believe her on. A few weeks later, she wrote me a letter telling me she was leaving me. Not because of this guy specifically, but because she was worried she would cheat on me eventually, as she always has had a desire for variety. She assured me it had nothing to do with me or enjoying sex with me. We still were having amazing sex quite often. For her, it made more sense to end the marriage instead of hurting me over and over by cheating. I respected her approach at this point, as she obviously did care enough to tell me her true feelings. This woman is the love of my life and the mother of my children, and I really wanted to save our marriage. On a whim, I suggested the open marriage as long as we could agree on a set of rules and stayed completely honest with each other. She agreed, and we tore the letter up. In my mind, it's not what I wanted, but I thought we should at least give it a shot. Swinging initially. After writing down the rules we agreed on, see rules below, we started by going to a few swinger parties and a couple dates with other couples. We eventually decided we both liked it better if we had our own play friends, and we played separately from each other, i.e., not same room playing. She would go out with a friend one night, and I might go out another night. Initially, it was just her who was going out, but I could tell it was starting to bother her that I wasn't doing the same, so I made a couple new FWBs. During all of this, I secretly was hoping that she would have a few experiences and realize in the end she would just want me, but it was not the case. Also, I found that on the few times I would go out with my FWBs, I wasn't really enjoying myself. Shortly after this, I decided that I was going to stop swinging and it would just be something she would do. Our rules, in case anyone was curious. No sleeping over. Honesty. Each partner will know ahead of time if there are plans to play with someone else. Just sex. Not looking for polyamorous relationships. Must use protection. We take care of each other's needs before our friends, meaning we shouldn't be playing with friends more than we are playing with each other. 3 years later. Now, 3 years later, we have gone through several long periods of time where she has no desire to swing. Those times have been great while they lasted, but as of a few weeks ago, she has found a new FWB. They are actually together right now in our home, kids are at school, and I'm sitting here at work trying to figure out how I can keep doing this. I want her to be happy, but I want to be happy too. To my wife's credit, during this whole time, she was always super open with me. Anytime she found a new friend, she told me right away. She would tell me up front if she was trying to make plans to play. I also was very open with her about my feelings through all of this, that I wasn't enjoying it like I thought I would, that I was having some jealousy issues, especially during the time they were together and I was sitting and home with my thoughts, or at work with my thoughts like I am right now. We talked multiple times about this, but in the end it came back to her wanting to do this to be happy. I know that if I demand she stop, she's just going to leave again. I'm not sure what the best path is at this point. As I mentioned above, we do have an open line of communication about everything. She's just not willing to give it up. I want to be happy, but I don't want to lose her, both for my sake and for the kids. Looking for some suggestions, as I can't continue to sit here and cry at work like a dope. Edit. Some are pointing out correctly that although we started this off as swinging and going to swingers' parties, it evolved into an open relationship. My apologies if I posted this in the wrong sub. I couldn't find an active sub that seemed more appropriate. Relevant comments. Wow, this could be a difficult situation. She has been upfront and has really acted responsibly about her communication. This being said, you both have totally different takes on love and marriage. One or both of you have to change your mindset for this to work. This being said, you only can't control the actions of one of the two players here. These are questions only you can answer. If you choose to stay, you have to be okay with what is going on. Not just turn a blind eye, but be happy for your wife in days like this. You have to be excited for her. You have to enjoy it like she does for what it is, a sexual awakening that she most of the time shares with you. This is possible. Maybe you can turn it into a game where after she has had her fun, that you spend some time together and you fuck her harder than ever, claiming her back. If you choose to leave because you feel you will always be miserable as long as she finds FWBs, then leave. But you have to be okay with leaving. Sure, she is the love of your life and the mother of your children, but you are slowly being driven mad with her living a lifestyle that is just not you. She will always be the mother of your children, but I can assure you that you will find someone who will share your monogamist mindset, and she will fulfill you the way you deserve it. There are only 3 right answers here. Stay and truly accept your wife as she is. Leave and realize that you will find a better match for you. She decides that she loves you more than her other affiliations and is happy, truly happy with not having variety. The only 2 wrong answers are stay and be miserable, not accepting your wife as she is. Leave and never get over her, never opening yourself up to the love of another. Since there are kids involved, I really don't want to give direct advice. They will be affected. But you should talk this over with your wife. Give her the same respect for truth she gave you. Tell her how you feel. And for your own mental welfare, please do one of the 3 right answers. Only 2 of those you have direct control over, 1 is her choice alone. You have a right to be happy as well, and currently you don't sound it. You deserve it. So please communicate and go down the road of one of those choices that will make you happy. OP. It is difficult, and believe it or not, I'm not upset with her at all. Aside from the very beginnings of this, she has been open and honest the whole time since we agreed on this. I want to be happy for her and try to be happy for her. I definitely get the appeal of the variety aspect. And there's the added bonus that she's typically more worked up for me than normal, which I love. In the last 2 weeks of her chatting, meeting this new guy, we've had sex at least once a day, which I love. I want to work on being okay with this. Truthfully, it's been probably a year since she played with anyone else, and all the original emotions came back so fast. Commenter. Started swinging to save our marriage. That's all I needed to read. I did read the rest. She started swinging to save her marriage. You didn't start swinging to save your marriage as much as you gave into her demands. You obviously have no desire to swing. Sadly, you fell into a trap a lot of spouses have, and it's a shame you didn't ask about it before you started. Right now, she gets to have her cake and eat it too, so to speak, while you are miserable. This is all about you now. You need to have one of those sit-down talks with her and tell her how you are feeling about this. It may end up she refuses to change, and you then get to pick being miserable or divorced and start healing. Commenter. I know you don't want to hear this, but you have to let her know you can't do it anymore. If she isn't willing to make that sacrifice to keep you and her family together, then let her go. Just remember, there is a woman out there who will be happy with just you, and you'll have an amazing life with her. If your wife is willing to break up her family for some side dick, she really isn't worth keeping anyway, is she? Anywho, good luck. Commenter. This isn't swinging. This isn't really what I think of as an open relationship either. This comes closest to blackmail. Essentially, if you don't let me fuck other guys, then I will end this marriage and break up our family. All this talk about honesty is superfluous. I guess at least she isn't being dishonest. However, doing something over and over again that you know hurts someone and then telling the other person about it is not how you foster a loving relationship. At its best, shows that she cares way more for herself than for you, but maybe still cares for you a little. And at its worst is just sadistic. You are miserable and now you're stewing at work while your wife gets fucked at your home. Time to make her decide. Keep the family together, or let her break it up so she can have her fun. Put the decision on her so it is not you breaking up the family. I'm truly sorry this is happening to you. Update. I have had a handful of requests for an update and a lot has happened. My wife left me on Tuesday. Based on all the advice I received here, I had another talk with my wife and poured my heart out to her about how I am truly feeling in regards to the open relationship. Most of the things I said were things I've said before, but I made it much clearer that I am having major issues with this and not just minor annoyances. I told her I was not ready to call it quits on the marriage, though. After all, we have been together 10 years and have 5 kids together, and I do still love her very much. Long story short, she refused to be open to discuss any compromises and also refused to go to counseling. A couple days after this conversation, she told me she wanted out, that she hasn't been in love with me for a long time, and that the only reason she was still with me was because the swinging made it manageable for her to say. She said a lot more also, most of it hurtful, but I think I've expressed her point pretty clearly and don't need to go into excruciating detail. Now I know what some of you are thinking. This is exactly what I needed. I needed to be out of this toxic relationship. Even though I know this is true, God damn it, this hurts. Have spent all week crying, went to counseling by myself. I know it's for the best, but I keep thinking about all the years we've been together, remembering the old times, our first date, when I proposed the birth of our first daughter. God damn it, this sucks. To top all of this off, she tells me today, well, I'd still be interested in being play friends with you. We can have some fun occasionally. Fuck no. I'm rambling now, so I'll wrap it up. I know in the end I will be in a better place, but it's hard to see how just yet. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice. And yes, I realize at this point this is probably more appropriate in relationships due to the breakup and such, but I figured I started this here in R swinging and wanted to finish it here. Relevant comments. Commenter. She sounds like she became a super bitch. You pour your soul out and say you love her, and she basically tells you it's over, and by the way, I haven't really loved you for a few years, and the only way I could be with you was if I was fucking other guys. Then after she rips your heart out, she throws out something about still being friends with benefits. OMG. I realize this is only one side of the story, but she sounds very self-centered, insensitive, and cruel. As hard as this is, she was the equivalent of an emotional lamprey, just sucking the emotional energy out of you without ever paying it back. No one can live with someone like that. Focus on your kids. They will need someone there for them. She might be too self-absorbed to take care of their needs right now. Use their love to help fill some of this void. Commenter. Really sorry, man. I know you're hurting now. You sound like a very level-headed, thoughtful, articulate guy, though, so I'm sure you'll land on your feet. I'd like to point out to others that this is a perfect example of why swinging should not be used as a means to save a marriage. It should only be something that very strong marriage partners engage in. Commenter. Wow, best wishes, my man. Keep going to counseling by yourself, it'll help. I know it hurts like absolute hell, but there's a life on the other end of this, I promise. Here's some stuff I know you don't want to hear. Your ex acted horribly irresponsible, selfish, mean-spirited, tone-deaf, heartless, cruel, manipulative, and ugh, it upsets me just thinking about it. You are going to be better off without her, and as much as it hurts to say, your kids are going to be better off with less of her if this is the type of person she is. It's unreal that people can go on so long being such a shell of a person to someone who's being so real to them. Stay strong, Redditor. You're going to be better off. Second story. My wife has not fulfilled the motherly role she had promised, and I harbor strong feelings of resentment towards her as a result. We have been together for 12 years, married 8 of it. We always had great dynamics. She told me she would want 2, 3 children, and I was always more cautious due to my troubled childhood. This was a constant topic in the past. We talked about names for our future children. We had 3 girl and boy names chosen. When our first child born a bit more than 4 years ago, I somehow opened up. Being a father made my life full. Everything was due natural and seemed east, and I was instantly ready for another child. I helped 50-50, even though I was working after 4 weeks leave, changing diapers, waking up at night, going for walks. However, she stopped wanting more. Even in the first 2 years of raising our baby girl, it was obviously she does not like motherhood. She could not sit down to play. She would rather pursue her hobbies. I would have to go on sick leave to care for her because she would kind of burn out after a week of being alone with our daughter. I am working from home all the time. I even play with her during non-video meetings. I thought if it could be depression, but my wife is cheerful, has hobbies, goes out with girlfriends. But if she has to be with the kid for 2-3 days due to a cold, then misery comes. Important to note that my wife or I are both work in the same field. She is much smarter than me but is lazy, would do the bare minimum, whereas I love this field, do research, train myself, and because of this, I earn 3x as much. She could do much more with her brain, but does not care, which is fine, but still demands that I go on sick leave with our daughter. I would point out that her salary would not support our lifestyle, and we could cook instead of ordering, but she does not want to. I feel shit. My only support is my daughter, her smile and laughter. I could not put her through a divorce since I was from a broken family. I am jealous for other mothers who love being with their children. Update 1. There's a lot of comments. I tried checking the most. Let me react here the most common ones. She wasn't always like this. Even she says sometimes she can't play with our daughter because it's hard. I think she can't find her way of playing with a small child. She also works from home, but when I am on sick leave, she is untouchable. I feel like she is escaping from interacting with her daughter when she has chance of sinking into work I love, or loved. I have to look into myself, her. We have dates. We have intimacy, not as much as before our child was born. We even have a lot of help from grandparents. She tries to toss the kid to her parents on every possible weekend. The grandparents like the kid, so it's fine. But sometimes I have to persuade my wife both to ask her parents, so I, sometimes she too, can bring our daughters to the zoo, do something over the weekend. I never pressured the second child. I only said I am ready when someone asked personally, but I always tried to put on my game face and say, we are not sure when others asked. I will look into PPD, but it seems like she can handle our child in small doses, and she is happy those times. For example, after kindergarten, she can play with her a bit, but she never proposes programs with her. Comments. Commenter. Unfortunately, some women don't know what kind of mothers they're going to be until they have children. She may have meant what she said about kids when she said it, and then simply found the reality much more difficult. Or if she had a difficult pregnancy or birth, she may be carrying some resentment of her own. Have you two discussed counseling at all? BC, it seems like you're on different pages about a few things. Your daughters just brought the issues to the forefront. Commenter. Society has to stop presenting motherhood as a lifelong series of hallmark moments. Commenter. God, when I was pregnant with my first, my mom was always asking me how much I love my baby, telling never-ending stories about how she loved me since the day she found out she was pregnant with me. I love my mom, but those stories drove me absolutely bonkers because, guess what? I didn't love my baby when he was in my stomach. Is not that I didn't love him, but I didn't feel that everlasting love towards him. After he was born, I went into a horrible postpartum depression because I felt like a bad mom, because I didn't love my baby like I was supposed to. It took me years and tons of therapy to understand that we don't all show love the same way, and we all can't put into words how much we love. Update. 7 days later. Hey again. I brought an update to my previous post. Not the update that makes me happy, but at least I started moving forward. First of all, I received many messages and not all was answered. Thanks for the support, dear internet people. On Friday, I brought our daughter to Grands. We have quite some help from our parents. Then I asked to have a chat with my wife. I told her how I felt, what I see, and I asked, how can I help her? I offered that she should take some time off, a couple days alone or with a friend of hers, and she said it's a good idea. On Saturday afternoon, while I went to Grands for our child, she seemingly packed 2 big duffel bags worth of clothes and went away. 2 bags are missing, and lots of her clothes, so it's easy to do the math. I called her without success, but at least she answered my messages about at least saying goodbye to her daughter, to which she replied, it's not about her. It has been some days now. My daughter asked where mom is a couple times, and I always tell something like, she can't come home now, but she loves you. But it feels like I am lying to her face. I can't sleep, can't eat. Even my in-laws have no info on what is happening with my wife. I will talk to a lawyer tomorrow and start documenting everything as a friend of mine told me. Just to answer a couple questions from the previous post, I am not just playing with my daughter. I bring her to kindergarten and I bring her home too every day. I plan weekend activities, vacations. I wash more than my wife does. I planned date nights for my wife and I, while Grands came over or we brought our child to their place. So there is that. Keep safe all. Comments. Commenter. Whatever you do, don't let her do the in and out, back and forth bullshit. Don't let her vanish for weeks or months at a time, pop back up for a visit or two and then disappear again. That fucks kids up badly. Either she's gonna be a mom or she's not. Commenter. Second this. If your wife comes and goes as she pleases, it's going to be worst for the mental well-being of his daughter, worst than being in a broken home, because at least she will have some kind of stability in her life with the people that really want to be in her life. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.